The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Thank you, Tally Olson. I am back. You are comfortably zoned with me, the Tokin Jew in Alameda, Tokin with an I. I'm the Zigzag Man, Ralph Tycho, and every week or so I come at you with some of the most interesting guests on the face of the planet. Today is no exception. My old buddy and standby Jerry Feitelberg. How are you?
I'm doing great, Ralph. I just finished up watching the A's down the Baltimore Orioles 6-4. Terrific ball game. And I listened to the Mets taking 3 out of 4 against a tough Giant team. So yes, we have a lot of baseball to talk about in the Bay Area, Northern California. We're right across the bay from San Francisco, across the moat from Alameda, from Oakland, and it's been a great opening week and a half. I'm excited. We have baseball back, and most importantly, we have Jerry Feitelberg back. How have you been personally? Oh, yeah.
Everything okay?
Everything is just fine, and I picked up my credential today. I've been at the ballpark since about 11 o'clock this morning, and the A's aren't quite up to snuff running a ballpark, but be that as it may, the attendance was kind of low. There were 4,429 people at the ballpark, which was, the fans are really unhappy with the A's ownership and the management of the club, the way it's going. They traded away all their...
The last 20 years, they've accumulated what appeared to be an excellent ball club, sell it off.
This is their
young guys
business model.
And for a long time, they were really on the tit of Major League Baseball, where they were throwing bucks at the teams that were underperforming, or what they said they had poor ballparks or poor situation, and they tried to even it out a little bit. And with that failing, I think it's going to force the issue. And sadly for me, living within walking distance, if I had to, from the Oakland Coliseum, and having followed them since the year they came out here in 1968, I was in the Air Force, reunited with my Giants, and the A's made a great competition. When things were going well, both teams were drawing an inordinate amount of fans, and things went to hell in a handbasket, and I'm predicting that they're gonna go. More than likely, they'll follow the Raiders to Las Vegas. What say you?
Well, it's still up in the air. It looks grim, but you never know. They have some key meetings coming up that have to be. They can get favorable rulings on, and if they do, that might give them a chance of staying. But it just looks like they're going to go, and the fans have seen this scenario time and time again, where they have a good team. They did it in 2014. After the 2014 season, they broke it up. They traded Josh Donaldson to the Toronto Blue Jays. He became an MVP with the Blue Jays and had success with them. They did it with when they had great pitchers like Mulder and Hudson and Zito. Mulder and Hudson got traded. Zito left to go to the Giants as a free agent. They did it after the 2006 season, and they traded Nick Swisher to the Chicago White Sox. And this has been their modus operandi, and they want to have young players, inexpensive players, and they're doing that with now. Almost all the relievers are either rookies or rejects from other teams, and yet after the first 14 games, they're 8-6. And if you project that project that out, if they went 80 and 60, you'd say, hey, they're having a great season. So
nobody bothered to tell the players that they weren't good.
Yeah, and they're getting some. Today they had some great performances from Sheldon Noisy, who was with the A's. He was with the Dodgers last year, came back to the A's. When he was first with the A's, he never got a chance to play. But now he's playing multiple positions for them. He's at third base today, and he had 3 hits, drove in 2 runs. Their catcher, Sean Murphy, is on fire. He had 3 hits.
He's wonderful defensively, John Murphy.
Oh, he made a heads-up play today that I have never seen in the ballpark today.
Really?
Trey Mancini was at the plate, and he lined a shot off of Paul Blackburn's leg, and it bounced over to Tony Kemp, and Kemp threw the ball to first base, but it was an error, and Mancini made it cross the base safely, but instead of turning right, he turned left, and Murphy was backing up on the play. He tagged Mancini out, and the Orioles were enraged. I had never seen a catcher tag anybody out on a play like that before. So 1-4-3, an error on the second baseman, and I'm sorry, it wasn't Tony Allen. It was Tony Kemp. It was Nick Allen, the rookie, made the errant throw. But to see Murphy alertly run down to back up the play, and he tagged the runner out. You just don't see
when
that.
When the runner turns left and makes any kind of left-hand turn, he's subject to being picked off or tagged out.
Yeah,
he could run straight down the baseline as long as he wants, but you can't turn. That shows intent, and you're right. That's a heads-up play. He made a dive towards third base the other day, Murphy did, that was spectacular. I mean, this guy is quick, and it doesn't hurt to have an all-star defensive catcher as your backstop.
Not at all. Not only he was the first A's catcher to win a Gold Glove.
Right. How do you think? Cause it's only been 2 weeks, but how is the team taking to Kase, and does he seem comfortable as the manager?
Oh, does he ever? I went down to the presser after the game with Kase, and when we get together, I'll show. I photographed it, so I'll show you how he reacted to the questions. He handled the questions. He's articulate, and he was very pleased with his team, and they're relating quite well with him. It's doing very nicely.
Beautiful. So you may have a season of interest after all.
Yeah.
Hey, let's quickly talk about the Warriors. They're in the playoff. We did an extensive show about them a few weeks ago, you and I, and it's very interesting. There's a kid, Poole, who has exploded onto the scene, And the wonder is he's not on anybody's list for most improved player in the league. If they didn't have lists and it was just who's the most improved, it would definitely be him. He has played a major role in the first two playoff games. And what with Curry coming back, they appear healthy. And as Kerr says, there's a myriad of ways this team can beat you. And he's going to surprise, and he's going to change up the rotation, and Curry's going to get more minutes. So I see good things for the Warriors. I want to ask you, what could be their downfall?
Oh, you outlined Jordan Poole's progress, unbelievable. He was a first round. He's only 22 years old. He was a first round draft pick, and his first season was 2020, which was the COVID season. And of course, Curry was hurt, and he didn't play that well. And so, in 2021, last season, he didn't play well for the first part of the season. They sent him down to the G League, and he really improved his game down in Santa Cruz. And he came back, and you could see the improvement. And he got playing to the more playing time. Now, and what he's done, he has studied all the films and the games of Steph Curry, how Curry moves, how Curry passes, what he does when he doesn't have the ball. And he's been mimicking that and working that into his game. And he's developed a three-point shot. He goes to the rim. He's quick. He moves. He passes well. So he's become Curry light, and he's really been outstanding. And all I can tell you is that it bodes well for the Warriors in the playoffs. In the two games, he got 59 points in the first two games of the playoffs. And when they go small with the three guards, with Curry, Klay Thompson, and Poole, the ball is moving. They're hitting their shots. They're getting open. They make it difficult for the opposing team to defend them. The one downfall that they've had over the last couple of years is they don't have a player bigger than 6'9". Or maybe Bielitsa, I think, is 6'10", but he's a backup center. But they were counting on James Wiseman to come back this year. Wiseman was 20 years old, had a meniscus tear last year, and he did not recover well from his surgery. It's unfortunate, but they were counting on him to be in the middle. So that puts a lot of load on Kevon Looney, and when they go small, it's up to Draymond Green and Andrew Wiggins to play defense, to shut down the opponent's big man, and they've done a very good job on Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets. Jokic was the MVP of the NBA last year, and he may be MVP again this year. But the Warriors have done a good job of holding him in check.
Okay, it should be interesting. Third thing I wanted to talk to you about is the Giants, who, like I say, just got turned away by the Mets 3 out of 4 games. But coming in, they were the hottest team in baseball. Are the Mets that good? Yeah, the Mets got some players. They got, they picked up 2 wonderful players from the A's. They've got Mark Canha, and they got Starling Marte. And Marte, when he played with the A's last year, he was very, very good.
He can run, play center field.
Hey, they also got a pitcher from the A's. They also got a pitcher from the A's that you guys are going to miss.
Yes, they traded for Chris Bassett, and I think he was the losing pitcher in the game that the Giants won, but I think he's 2-1 for the season. He's going to be a big addition to the Mets pitching staff, and of course, the Giants had to go up against Max Scherzer, and Scherzer won that game. And Jacob DeGrom, and DeGrom is not back yet, but when their pitching is going to be very, very solid. So the Mets,
if and when DeGrom has an MRI coming up, which will determine whether or not he can start throwing or start working out. I hope they don't rush him because their pitching has been incredibly great, their starting pitching, and their bullpen in the last 3 games has materialized a little bit. They're going to be terrific.
Oh, absolutely. The Mets, if they stay healthy, they have a chance to really show what they can do. It's early in the season, so it's a long way to go, but the signs are very encouraging for the Mets, and the Giants are going to be in a dogfight with the Dodgers and the Padres for the NL West. They got 3 good teams in the NL West, and the Rockies have improved.
We were talking about the Giants, and I just wanted to interject that Crawford could be the shortstop of the decade. This guy is a future Hall of Famer, and our mutual friend Michael Duca was the first to point him out as really being great. 4 or 5 years ago, Michael said, watch him.
Oh yeah, he's had a great career. He had last year, and he's duplicating it again. So he is the team leader.
Yes. Yes.
He was a Bay Area product, and the Giants were his favorite team growing up. And how many played for their hometown team? It's very rare. But it does happen.
Absolutely.
And he loves being a Giant.
Yeah. Hey, Yastrzemski, whose name always elicits wonderful memories, a Hall of Famer, a Bostonian. His grandson is playing with the Giants, and he shows flashes every now and again of really being a good, solid ball player. He's off to a shaky start. I think he hit a home run today, if I'm not mistaken. But it shows that baseball goes from generation to generation. So when we hear and this is not his son, it's his grandson. So it really makes us feel old, because I remember when he broke in, and I remember the transition he took over for Ted Williams. Wow. It goes by quickly. I think it was Dorothy Parker who says, "Time doth flit." Oh, shit.
So all I can tell you is I was 22 years old when Yastrzemski broke in with the Red Sox, and that was in 1961. And your listeners can then figure out how old I am.
Yeah, well, we're both ageless. Let's put it that way. Yeah. And, people talk age is just a state of mind and all that. To a certain extent, it is. I mean, we're still living the Walter Mitty lives that we always enjoyed living. And knock on wood, we seem to have, at least you seem to have, your seichel. your brains, and your bag of marbles remains intact. And so whatever age Jerry, still here. That has a lot to do with it also. Jerry,
well,
what do you...
Yeah.
What do you attribute your aging the way you do with your mind?
I have no idea.
Intact? Why is it intact? And do you read an awful lot? Do you do anything to keep deliberately to keep your mind working, or is it just comes natural to you?
Well, I do read a lot. I try. Now in the digital age, I have access to 3 newspapers in the morning. I read the New York Times, especially the editorial content. The same thing for the Washington Post, and then I read the San Francisco Chronicle. And then doing the sports writing keeps my brain active because I get to keep track of the A's now. And when I was doing basketball, I was did the Warriors and kept track of them. But I'm not doing it as much. But here at this age, have the access. Today, I didn't. I was at the park at 11 to get my credential. I went in. I had I was on the computer until the game started, and then from there on, I was busy. There weren't too many journalists on my side of the press box today. I think there were just 3 of us over on the left of the broadcast booth. But a lot of the writers were on the other side, and for Conse's presser, there was maybe 6 or 8 of us in the press room. Then I went down to the clubhouse and I talked to I didn't talk to Paul Blackburn. But I recorded some of the stuff that he said. Blackburn had an outstanding outing for the A's today. The young man had his third best outing of the season. His record is now 2-0, but he only went 5 innings. He went 5 innings, gave up no runs, 3 hits, didn't walk a batter, struck out 4, and threw 62 pitches, and they took him out of the game. And I don't know why they took him out after 62, but that's what it was.
Players are on a strict pitch count these days, and I don't think it's the manager that makes the ultimate decision. I think that comes from higher up, and they tell the manager, hey, listen, 60 pitches today for this guy based on our analytics or whatever, or arm strength that they're gaining, and not one more. And the manager has very little control of that. It's become a management-run league as opposed to on-field. In other words, the higher-ups are making most of the decisions, and they used to accuse Billy Beane of doing just that before it became fashionable. He was one who always had input to every manager that he hired. Yeah. You're right. You're right, and it really takes away from the game. You think guys like Warren Spahn or Robin Roberts or Whitey Ford, they would want to come out after 5 innings? You'd have to. They wouldn't let you take the ball out of their hands if they're throwing no runs and just 3 hits and 5 innings of work. There's no way they'd come out. But those are different times and different eras, and what can I tell you? That's the way baseball is today. Whitey Ford was really the exception to your list. If you'd have said Bob Gibson couldn't get the ball out of Gibson's hand, Whitey Ford combined with Louis Arroyo off times, and through Arroyo was really a caddy to Whitey Ford. Back in the days when the Yankees were great, and I remember it well. You said 61 is when Yastrzemski came up, and 61 is when I think they had arguably, of course, the best team ever. It was the Maris Mantle years. Yogi was still available for left field. You had a terrific infield. It was Boyer, Kubek, Richardson, and Skowron, and you had three catchers who hit over 20 home runs each. They weren't all full-time catchers, but Yogi hit over 20, Elston Howard hit over 20, and a great Yankee, a great pinch hitter, and one of the Yankees that wanted to be a Yankee more than anything else in the world, Johnny Blanchard, third-string catcher, hit over 20 home runs. A great year. 1961 New York Yankees. We've been blessed seeing great teams in our lifetime. Which Red Sox team was your favorite of all time? It doesn't mean that they had the best record. They might have been underachievers or overachievers, came from nowhere. Which Red Sox team do you remember as being one of your favorites?
Well, I actually have two teams. The 2004 team that won the World Series after 86 years, being down 3-0 to the Yankees, and then coming back and sweeping the 4 games against the Yankees to win the series 4-3, and then going on to sweep the Cardinals in the World Series. That was something else. They were a bunch of cows. They used to say "Cowboy up," and the second team was the 2013 Red Sox team. On Patriots Day in 2013, you had the Boston Marathon terror attack where 3 people lost their lives and a couple hundred people were maimed. Just as an aside, one of the guys I went to college with, his son was running in the marathon, and he and his other son were at the finish line, and his son finished the race in 3 hours and 5 minutes, and they went over to they got the two sons, and he went to a bar, and they were having some food and a drink when they saw on TV the explosion. And it happened exactly where they were just a few minutes before. Had they not left, they would have been either killed or injured. And they were so fortunate to have the good fortune to move away. They didn't know what was going to happen. I got chills when he told me the story. But the 2013 team, that was the year everybody grew beards, and they would pull on the beard. And they had the Flying Hawaiian, and they had the guy from Petaluma, Gomes, and they had Mike Napoli, and they had probably not the best team of best players, but they won it all. They won it all, and I guess they had on their minds the 3 people that lost their lives in the terror attack, and the people that were hurt. So that was my second favorite Red Sox team.
Nice, Jerry. Hey, time's up. What a wonderful podcast. You are a terrific guest and a terrific friend.
Well, thank you, Ralph. Hopefully I'll see you on Tuesday for lunch.
I hope so. It depends on whether or not I could get away from being Tally's assistant. And you know what we're going through. Life isn't necessarily easy.
If not, I'll just pick it up. If not, I'll pick it up and I'll bring it over to the house. How's that?
Beautiful. I miss you, Jerry. Talk soon.
Okay.
All right.
Take care.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. I have a bunch of good guests and a bunch of great ones. None greater than Jerry Feitelberg. Thank you, sir. Thanks for listening, everybody. Happy trails and good luck.
The proceeding has been a Comfortably Zoned Network production. You are advised to keep your dreams wet, your humor dry, your children and grandchildren out of military recruiting offices and off the laps of clerics who wear dresses. Thank you for listening, everyone. Happy trails.